this is Blue. Today I'll be talking to you guys about Silent Hill Downpour. The story focuses on our protagonist Murphy, who we learn right off the bat is a prison inmate. When you first take control of Murphy, you're tasked at doing something that appears to be a little bit reprehensible, brutal, and calloused. But Murphy's innocent-like demeanor and underlying morality tell us that there's probably a little bit more to it than that. A few minutes later, after you survive the prison convoy crash, you'll come across Officer Cunningham, and again, multiple times throughout the game. She kind of flip-flops between trying to murder you and having a sort of apathy towards you that never really is explained, but you'll face several morality choices that will affect your ending, two of which involve this character, making her a relatively important part of the story. There are pieces of this game that tie back into the order from the other Silent Hill titles, and you may even recognize a couple of iconic items, such as one particular scene dealing with someone that appears to be dressed as an actual member of the Order itself. And even though this game uses the autosave feature, you'll still see the Order logos in various places, sort of a simplified version of the Halo of the Sun logo from Silent Hill 3. As far as the gameplay goes, I really liked the idea of the weather system. When it starts to rain and the monsters would come out, they would be a lot more aggressive and dangerous, so unless you took shelter inside of a building until the storm was over, you were in a lot more danger. However, I feel like the combat took a back seat in this game. It felt clumsy and awkward, and the inventory was inconvenient at best. The different weapons you could pick up vary from a rock or a rake that you find laying around on the ground to the heavy-handed hatchet, or even the classic steel pipe. But they all really seem to do the same amount of damage, and they break really quickly. There are a few guns that you can pick up in this game, but they never really have that much in the way of ammo, which is expected from these games, but there's at least 2 points in this game where you lose your entire inventory, so don't be afraid to use those firearms when you find them. Saving them won't do you any good. Navigating the world could be a bit troublesome at times. The environment never really made it very obvious if you could slip through a basement window or between two giant rocks, sometimes leaving you to run around in circles trying to find where you're supposed to go. But if you love puzzles, this game has them in spades. You'll face several infuriating lockboxes with multiple turning dials. There are environment puzzles and lots of documents to collect and read, many of which are really rewarding because you'll get a better understanding of what Murphy's all about. I think the biggest problem that I had with this game was once you actually got into Silent Hill. They kind of go from a straightforward sort of gameplay to a very open world with about 1 million side quests to complete, and they all seem to kind of stack on top of each other. It really took me a long time to differentiate between what was an important plot line and what was just another side quest. Sometimes I felt like I was carrying around so many random items and running in circles so much that I was more frustrated than intrigued. When it comes to the enemies, I honestly laughed when I saw the character art for the monsters in this game. They're really ridiculous and don't really do much to put fear into us, at least not the pyramid head kind of fear that we're used to. The two most common enemies you'll encounter is the Screamer, which pretty much just looks like a bag lady with little needles coming out of her hands, and then the Brawler, which just looks like a messed up prison inmate, which just makes sense considering Murphy's storyline, but they really aren't that impressive and just became more irritating than anything else. I can give props to the design of the Weeping Bat, simply because of its ability to hang from ceilings or even just for its massive height. But its actual design, with the gaping mouth and the emaciated body, just really didn't do much for me. And the evil ball of light that chases Murphy from time to time, it kind of acts as a boss character, but all it really seems to do is kind of burn his skin a little bit, and it was really laughable, and it really didn't seem to fit into the atmosphere. And aside from the inmates, none of the creatures seemed to reflect Murphy's psyche at all. Maybe I'm just being a bit too harsh on it, but I'm used to the really twisted and gory psychological monsters that we got from the previous games. And then we have the music, and this is the first Silent Hill that actually didn't feature the composer from the other titles, Akira Yamaoka. Instead, we have Daniel Lynch taking his place to put the horrific backbone into the soundtrack. And even though the music is a little bit different from what we've become accustomed to, I feel like he really did a pretty good job of capturing the feel of what we were supposed to be experiencing in the game. Lots of heavy brassy tones, echoing laughter, and we even have a vocal appearance by Jonathan Davis. Overall, the graphics for this game are pretty solid, though I really didn't find many of the environments to be extraordinary or particularly unique in any way. The lightning effect is really strange. It turns everything purple, and it doesn't really do anything to set any sort of mood or inset panic or anything. I honestly thought something was wrong with my TV at first. It was disorienting, but I think they kind of missed the mark of what they were trying to do for that. But I did enjoy the fact that Murphy actually took battle damage, and you could just take a look at his face if you wanted to see how bad off his health was. And fans of Alan Wake may even find a good deal of the settings and environments comforting or unsettling, depending on how you look at it, seeing as how you'll adventure through mountainous woodland areas and even go through a similar diner and uncover various radios. Overall, I enjoyed this game in spite of the few gripes that I had. It made up for a lot of the shortcomings by infusing the story with, if nothing else, pure documentation to collect and read up about the environment and the story, which goes a long way for me. There's plenty of replay value if you want to go back and complete all the side quests, and multiple endings to achieve are based off of your morality choices and gameplay, and even your combat style plays a part in it. The game gets at least one extra thumbs up simply for the amount of Easter eggs and random tributes the game gives us. For example, there's a room you can find that's actually Henry's room from Silent Hill 4. Brick for brick, it's all there. You'll also find various paintings and photographs on different walls, such as Shepherd's Glen from Silent Hill Homecoming and the Incubus boss creature from Silent Hill 1. As a whole, the game can really be intense and creepy at times, and it is gratifying for item seekers, and even though this game didn't really land on my top 10 list, it could still be certainly worth a playthrough.